Thanks for staying with us. We are back with our Back to Basics segment. So I read an article about parents who smoke pot. I think it's wrong to smoke, to do drugs in general. What do you think, Michelle?
I'm not necessarily against pot smoking. I don't smoke pot, so don't think that that's why. I'm not a pothead. But I am against smoking pot in front of your kids. I mean, if an adult wants to do it on their own, safely in their own home, away from the kids aren't home, I don't have a problem as long as it's not like this everyday habit. But I really don't have a problem with pot smoking.
Okay,
You know, it's
Christina, what you
interesting
think?
because, like, I mean, I've never even tried it myself, but I know here in the state of California, it's now legal. People can go get a prescription from their doctor, and it's not like this criminal activity. So, I mean, it's not illegal to do it, but I do think it's inappropriate to be smoking pot in front of your kids.
Well, it's the same thing as alcohol. I mean, I was reading an article on this, and they were talking about, well, no one thinks twice about having a drink in front of your kids or getting tipsy even. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Just because it's legal has nothing to do with it.
They can't get a contact high off of you drinking, but like if you're smoking weed, you know.
So it's basically do as I say, not as I do.
But the main thing is, how are you going to be responsible for these kids when you're like partying it up? You know, when you're hanging out with them
I
and
agree with
partying them.
Sunita because I do.
Shocking,
I know. I do. I agree with Sunita. I don't think you should be. I think you should set an example. And you should set an example early on. Maybe when they get older, around 10 and 12, you could probably have a drink in front of your kid. But I think you really need to set an example. I have a problem with pot smoking anyway because, you know, I hear all this, oh, it's not bad, it's cocaine or heroin. It doesn't matter. You're doing drugs. And people, as Natasha would say, marijuana makes you lazy. It takes away all your ambition in life. And it smells, too, and it stinks.
It does stink.
And for me as a woman, why would I want to smell like that? I want to smell like flowers and sweet. I want to stink. And what man want to kiss a woman with stinky breath? But the problem is that parents think it's okay to do anything nowadays as long as their kids don't find out. Well, kids know.
But the
Kids
thing is,
know more than you imagine.
what I want to know, though, is do you have that same passion against alcohol? Because what I don't understand is people get so worked up about marijuana, it's terrible, blah,
I
blah.
do.
But alcohol is okay. No, alcohol
It's not okay.
abuse is such a huge problem in this country.
Well, I don't drink, and it's because I saw so much around me as a child growing up. It made me immune to it. I don't drink. I get so sick and tired of people coming to work or they're like, oh my God, I got so drunk. I got so
Yeah, that's disgusting. I think alcohol is great in moderation. If you have a glass or two of wine, that's fine. But if you're getting sloppy drunk, and then you go to work and you brag about it, that's unprofessional.
But people do it in front of their kids, and not only do they do that, they don't realize what a lot of times if you are into drugs or drinking alcohol heavily, it leads to abuse in the family, and it really just messes a child up.
Well, the abuse thing is definitely the issue here, though. But the thing that I don't understand is that people are like, "Oh, alcohol's okay, but marijuana, oh my God,
Yeah, I have to
that's
agree
so
with Sunita.
terrible."
There is
I
a
don't-
difference, though.
there's-
It's not the same.
They're not the same, but I'm not going to be so
What's
much
the
against.
difference?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, you can get a contact high if I'm smoking weed and you're standing
Yeah,
next to me.
but-
But if I'm drinking and you're standing next to me, that's not going to affect you in the same way.
I don't have anything against parents who may have a little occasional
That's
pot
true,
smoking
Yolanda.
session
Why are you
together.
looking at me
The kids
crazy?
are at grandma and grandpa's house for the whole night. Parents go to the
Exactly.
backyard and say, let's smoke a little weed together. And it's a once in a while thing. It's not an everyday thing. It's just, I don't have a problem with it. I have smoked pot, not in my adult life. I did it when I was
She's
like...
not running for politics.
I'm not running for politics. I'm not pro pot, whatever. I'm saying I've done it when I was like 17. I've tried it. I thought it was disgusting. I got really hungry. I thought,
didn't
man, if
inhale.
you eat a lot, you're going to get fat. Why do people do this? But my thing is that if you are a parent, you don't do it around your kids. It's not an everyday thing. It's once in a while. Your kids are gone for the day or night. You're out in your backyard. I don't have an issue with it. To me, it's like having a glass of wine. If you're not going to
Exactly.
get in the car and it's not a habit, you're not doing it in front of your kids,
Okay,
you're an
so
adult.
you don't have a
then-
problem with that. You do it occasionally.
No,
So
I
you
don't
come
do it
home,
occasionally.
Your
I'm just saying
your
for people who
10-year-old
do.
daughter or son say, "Oh, Mom, I just do it occasionally."
No,
What's your
I
response?
just said that we do not do it in front of our kids. I don't.
They're not doing it in front of you, but you find
I
out
don't-
about it.
But first of all, they're not 18. You just said 10. If they told me, Mom, I
10-year-olds are
drink
smoking
a
pot.
glass of wine occasionally, I'd be pissed.
Exactly.
And they're telling me
It's
anything
the
about
same
food,
way
I'd
with
be
alcohol.
pissed.
Kids get into your little drawer and find your little pipe or whatever, how you roll it up, your little marijuana smoking and stuff.
She doesn't
They
have
get high.
Stop saying yours. I have a little pipe. I don't have a little pipe at home. Let me clarify. I do not smoke pot. I said I tried it when I was a kid. But I know people who smoke pot. And you know, like I said, if it's somewhere where they can't find it, it's locked away, it's an occasional rare thing, once in a while, like a glass of wine, not in front of the kids, they're out with grandma's for the night, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just being honest.
Okay, so you don't have a problem with it, but you find out someone you know, your 17-year-old niece or whatever is doing it. What would you tell them?
If my 17-year-old niece was doing it, I've talked to my niece about it, actually. She's 14. You know what? This is what I tell her from a woman's point of view. I say, it's disgusting. And I talked to my niece about it. I said, I tried it when I was a teenager. First of all, it was gross. I did it 2 times. The first time, I'm like, oh, I didn't feel anything. The second time I tried it, I'm like, I'm just hungry and feel tired. And I told her, I didn't get it. You know, pot, they say it makes you break out in acne. It makes you hungry, so what do? You want to eat. So I just tell my niece, honestly. I
know. Some people.
So you can't just say, oh, it's a terrible thing, because they're watching their friends and they're thinking, well, no, my friends don't like
it breaks up relationships.
I think I would tell a young girl, if I was talking to her, to not do it, because you always want to be in your right mind.
Exactly.
Somebody may take advantage of you. You don't know because you're getting high.
But I would say the same thing about alcohol, though.
Exactly.
I would say the same thing about alcohol. The same thing I would tell my niece about alcohol, about pot. You know, it made me feel lazy and like you're not totally there. I would say the same thing about alcohol.
Michelle, I believe you, but we're going to wrap this up. You know, what you did in your teenage years, and we're not going to hold up against you.
It was only 2 times.
And she didn't inhale.
Ladies, we'll talk about this during the break. Coming up next is Michelle Rivera with Mommyhood to Hollywood and all the hot stuff in Hollywood.
Thank you for revealing.
Oh, I've told my parents.